Hello, Angela Meiritz-Reid here, Stampin Up demonstrator based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today I'm sharing with you how I created this pretty handmade card using the Bouquet of Love hybrid embossing folder. All products I've used are available at my online store and will be listed at the end of this video. I've also created a PDF tutorial, and that link is available on my blog, and I'll pop the blog link too. So to start with this card, I've just got a basic white card base. I've already folded that in half, and then this layer here is just another basic white piece of cardstock. It's 9.5 by 13.9 centimeters, and I've created an ombre effect on that background. So to do that, I've got a scrap bit of paper, my blending brush, and polished pink ink. I'm just going to start at the top, and this is quite a light colour variation that I've used, nothing too dark. So I just start off the paper a little bit, and actually I'll show you a little trick that I do with blending. Just so my paper doesn't move, just pop a bit of the Stampin' Seal on a scrap bit of paper, and then just going to bend the edge over there so I can hold that without popping. Oils might come through from my hands, so I'm just going to get some, sticking to me, pop that over the corner and just add the ink here. Another thing you can do is start with a bigger piece of cardstock than you intend to use, and then cut down so you don't get sort of the darker edges. Depends what sort of look you're going for. So just keep on blending down until you feel like there's nothing left on your brush, and add some more ink. You can go reasonably hard. I tend to, because that is quite bendy, just hold it quite firmly. Don't hold it right at the other end. Just does take a little bit of time, so you need to be a little bit patient. And then I do want to take it right down to the bottom, just so that I can get a little bit of the paler pink down there, so it's not so stark with the white. And over time, what happens too is the ink will absorb into the paper. So it does sort of get better over time. Sometimes you want to start at a different corner as well, because you do sort of have a habit of starting in the same place. If you've seen my other videos, sometimes I just use the ombre gift bags. Just make that quick and simple to create that ombre look. But if you like colouring, this is a fun way of doing it. Also, another option is to start with a piece of cardstock other than white, so you've got that colour already there. So just still starting to get there, getting to a coverage that I'm quite getting happy with. Just need to blend it down a little bit more. Just sort of fill in some of those gaps. But once you get the heart over it, it will not be so noticeable. Try not to get too, see, I've got a little bit of a dark spot there from getting a little bit impatient, I think, to get it covered. Because once it's on, it can't come off. That's not too bad. I just might add a little bit more to get a bit darker at the top. It's going to be slightly different to last time, but it's okay. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And as I say, it will blend into the paper over time. And I'm going to add some white craft ink, so that sort of takes the edge off a little bit too. To one side. And then just give that a little twist to get that off there. Oh, actually, I'll leave that on there and I'll flick the white craft ink. So to do that, I just mix in a little bit of water with this, so pop that ink on there, and I've got an old aqua painter just to, because it does sort of get all gunked up a bit, and then just flick that as little as much as you want, make it a bit more noticeable than last time. And then just set that aside to dry. And the next thing I'm going to do is the heart, and that's using the Bouquet of Love hybrid embossing folder with the die. So what you do is you slip that into there, and I'm not going to do one for the whole of the embossing folder, just enough to do a card front. And what I'll do is move that over a bit so it is more even, so it's on the middle of the cardstock. Still not in the middle. And then run that through your die cutting machine. And then you end up with, so I've already got one here that I've done there. So I thought later on that would make, you know, could easily pop that on a card to, see if you pop something behind it, quite pretty. But we're just going to use the heart in this instance, and that's going to go onto the front of the card over the ombre panel. But firstly, I'm going to pop a little white baker's twine bow on the back. So I want that to be at this corner and that corner, and I always find when I turn it over I never can remember which way. So I just pop a little there and one down here, so I know. So when you turn things over, they sort of get easily confused. So I'm just going to pop some of the Stampin' Seal here, and you can either tie a bow and place it on, or my little trick for creating a bow is just pop the tail, I have one tail up here, and then down here I'll just create a loop, and then bring that up here and create another loop, And because you've put the Stampin' Seal, you can put it onto where you want and get the shape of your little loop, and then bring that down, and that will be your tail again. So when you turn it over, yeah, you've got your bow, and nobody's any the wiser that it's not tied at the back. And I'll trim that off once I get that on the card front. So the next thing I'm going to do is add some dimensionals to the back of the heart. Oopsie. Plenty of those on there. And that's going to go on here. This won't be quite dry yet, but I'll put it on anyway. Just be mindful not to get my fingers on the wet paint, and then just roughly work out where the center is. Take that up. And then it's going to trim off a little bit of that tail on this end. Just leave that again for a wee while. And the next thing I'm going to do is create the hello. So that's using the Misty Moonlight, and hello is from the Bigger Swish stamp set. Just going to stamp that onto here, and with the Photopolymer I always use one of these foam mats just to help with the, gives a great stamped image. And then I'm just going to fussy cut the hello, which is not too hard. It's a reasonably straightforward image to die cut, and you can be as fussy as you like. I have done that on this, gone right into here around the owl, but you don't have to. So, I just wanted to be able to see through there the pink background. Could always use a blade, you know, like a scalpel type instrument to fussy cut if you wanted. I find the scissors are easy enough. These little Stampin' Up ones are great, nice and sharp, and they do get into those tricky little corners. And I always find leaving a little gap of white around helps. Just, it's easy if you twist the paper around, that helps maneuver and get good cuts. And just does get more tricky as you're getting nearer the end. You've got less to hold on to. Yep, it's all done. And another thing I do sometimes if I feel that it's a bit sharp is just use my fingernail just to take off those sharp edges. Right, so that's done. So the next thing I'm going to do is adhere this to the card front, and it's looking a little bit more dry, so I'll just turn that right over and just add some dimensionals to that. I'd like to have plenty so we don't get any dips in the paper. Just add some little half ones up there. See. do have a tendency to go everywhere. Sometimes I've even seen the cat with the back of a dimensional on her. Right, and just get that in place. And then I'm just going to add the hello. And the O, as you can see, is over the edge. So I'm going to add 2 of dimensionals, one on top of the other. And for something small like this, these wee ones, the wee mini ones are good. Not sure if that's going to take a full one, so I'll just cut that. And then take the back off it, and then add the other half over top. So that gives you a double layer, which will be the height of this, the heart with one layer, and then the hello with another one. And I might just cut one to go on there on the H. And just work out where you want that. Tuck that in there, make sure it's nice and straight. Hopefully it is. I know that doesn't want to stick so well. It's okay. And then I'm just going to add some pearls. I thought pearls were nice and elegant to go with the heart. And grab my take your pick tool. So I've just used small ones on this, so just 3, couple down here, and one up there. So a fairly straightforward, simple card. Sometimes I always think less is more, and it looks pretty and sweet. And nice to just send a wee hello to somebody for Valentine's Day or just any time. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.